Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Campus 101 exam series. Today we're going to be looking at nutrition. Now don't forget, there is a part 1 to this video about the properties of living things. Nutrition is particular and it's very recurrent in the exam, so we made a special video for that. Oh, my Pepsi bottle. So, nutrition is an important characteristic of living things, hence my bottle of Pepsi. Alright, but before we even go into the details, let me tell you, living things have two main modes of nutrition. Either they are autotrophic, and you can just know this word now. Auto means like self-generating, trophic means food. Either they are autotrophic or they are heterotrophic. Heterotrophic meaning they depend on other organisms for food. Autotrophic organisms are plants. And plants make their food via, yes, tell me the process. Exactly. Start with pH, photosynthesis. Alright, and then not only plants are autotrophic, there are some bacteria that are also autotrophic, and they make their food via a particular process called what? Chemosynthesis. Alright, so they derive energy from the breakdown, the saprophytic breakdown of organic compounds. Then the energy derived is used to make food. So those organisms are autotrophic. Now animals like you and I that drink Pepsi are heterotrophic, and we depend on plants and other animals for our food. Now, obviously, food is a very important component of life. That's why nutrition is so important. It's such an important characteristic of living things. And nutrition is the mode by which organism gets nutrients into the cells, and then how they get nutrients, and then they break down the subsequent breakdown of those nutrients to absorbable, molecules that can be used in metabolism. That is what is referred to as nutrition. And we have looked at the types of nutrition: autotrophic, heterotrophic. Now, in man, this particular question comes out, once in a while, but it's good that we get it clear and off. They always ask, what's the component of the digestive system in man? And the component of the digestive system in man is from the mouth. When we eat, the food gets into the mouth. From the mouth, it gets through the esophagus, or also known as gullet, and then from the esophagus it gets into the stomach, from the stomach to the small intestine, so the small intestine, and here I mean both the duodenum and the ileum and the jejunum. Alright, so from the small intestine it goes to where? Good, the large intestine. So the large intestine, after the large intestine, it gets to the rectum. And after the rectum, it gets out in physics through the anus. And that is the pathway of food from the mouth to the esophagus, to the stomach, to the small intestine, to the large intestine, to the rectum, where feces is stored. And then when appropriate socially, it is passed out as feces through the anus. Now, there is an important organ in the digestive system of man. That organ is the liver. Alright, so questions have been coming out about the function of the liver in man. So I'm going to just list some of the most important function of the liver. Now let me tell you that the liver is the largest internal organ in man. We say the largest internal organ because the largest organ in man is the skin, but the largest internal organ in man is the liver. The liver is responsible for a lot of processes. And let me just tell you, when you touch your chest, put your hand on the chest like you're saying the pledge. Now move your chest. Don't go to the left. Go to the right part. Down. Yes, exactly. Down below your chest. Down below your right breast. Down there. That is your liver. Alright, so the functions of the liver include 1. The liver is the portal. Is the portal for nutrients. Portal means door. It is the doorway for nutrients. So it serves a very important function in digestion. It's very important in digestion. It also stores food, stores glycogen. Glycogen is storage form of sugar in man. You remember that, all right? So it's important in digestion because it helps in the digestion of fat, storage of glycogen. It's also important in clotting. The liver synthesizes proteins. The proteins that are responsible for blood clotting, so that blood will not, freeze. So that blood, when you have a cut, so you don't keep bleeding. proteins are synthesized in the liver. The liver also stores vitamins. Alright, liver stores vitamins. The liver is also partly responsible for the breakdown and recycling, right, of, let me say, red blood cells, but I mean here hemoglobin. The liver also serves excretory function. It excretes bile. Now, bile serves in the digestion of fat, but still, it's an excretory function of the liver. So the liver is quite important in the digestion of fat, storage of glycogen, synthesis of protein, storage of vitamins, recycling of red blood cells, and then the excretion of bile. So these functions are very key functions in the liver. And I told you the liver is located under the diaphragm, below the chest. So the liver looks something close to this, and it's very closely related to the gallbladder. Alright, so these are the functions of the liver. The next part of nutrition that I want us to look at, which is actually quite important in your exams, has a direct relationship with nutrition, and particularly in animals. And it is the concept of dentition. Alright, the concept of dentition. Dentition. Okay, so let's spell this better. That'll be dentition. Right? Dentition. This is dentition. If I spell it one wrong time again, I will forget about the spelling. So it's dentition. Yes, there you go. Alright, so that's dentition. Now, dentition is the arrangement. Food is taken in usually in large macromolecules. Macromolecules means big substances. But cells only require micromolecules such as glucose for digestion. So how do we break down this large chunk of chocolate into glucose so that our cells can take it? A very important component of the digestive system of man and other animals are the teeth. Alright, so the particular arrangement of the teeth on the jaws of the animals is referred to as dentition. Alright, and then those people that take care of the teeth are called what? Exactly, dentists. Don't forget, we're advised to brush our teeth twice a day. Alright, so what is the arrangement of teeth in animals? First off, let me tell you there are 4 main kinds of teeth. So we represent incisors with I. These are the ones used for biting. Then we represent canine with C. These are the ones used for tearing. And then we represent premolars. These are the ones used for chewing. And then the molars, the main grinding guys. Alright, so we present them as I, C, P, and M. Alright, so once again, this is incisor, this is the canine, the premolars, and then the molars. Alright, so now let's look at the dentition for man. Alright, so man, let's put man here. So man, and it's important for you to know that this dentition is the arrangement of one, is not the arrangement of the whole jaw, but is a representation of half of the jaw. Alright, so from the midline to the extreme left, half of the jaw. This is not the total. So whatever we find here, we have to multiply it by 2 to get the total number of teeth. Alright, so for man, the arrangement is 2 incisors up and 2 incisors down. That's for incisors. Man has 1 canine. If you look in the mirror, you see 1 sharp projection, alright, towards the angle of the mouth. And then man also has 2 premolars up and 2 premolars down. Then we have 3 molars and then 3 molars. The last of the molars is what is called the wisdom tooth, right? And you get it usually when you are 20 or thereabout. So once again, for man, it's 2 incisors up, 2/2, 1/1, 2/2, and then 3/3. So this is the arrangement for man. The other part of dentition that comes out, they can usually ask for the dentition of cattle. Alright, so for cattle, that's cows, they have 0 incisor in the front, but they have 3 under. So this is a very interesting pattern of dentition in cattle. Cattle have no canine up, and then they have 1 under in the lower jaw. I know you know now that the numerator of this fraction refers to the upper jaw, and then the lower part refers to the lower jaw, right? So they have 0 canine up and 1 down. They have, yeah, of course, as you can imagine, they have 3 premolars and 3 up and 3 down. Then they have 3 molars and 3 molars down here. Another regular dentition that comes out in your exam is that of rabbits. Alright, so rabbits have 2 incisor over 1 incisor. They have no canine. Don't forget that these are totally herbivores. They only eat vegetables. Now rabbits have an interesting 3 molars up in the upper jaw and then 2 molars in the lower jaw. They have 3 premolars and then they have 3 premolars down here. Now let's see how we can summarize and see if you have been following so far. So for man, I told us that this is just representing half of the jaw. For man, so this is 4 incisors, 2 canine, 4 plus 2, that's what? Exactly, 6. 6 plus 2 molars up, 2 molars down, that's 4. So 4 plus 6, that's 10. 10 plus 6, that's 16. So the total dentition for man is what? I hope you are not saying 16, because remember, whatever we get, we have to multiply it by 2. So man has 32 teeth. For cattle, we have 3 here, 1, 6. Alright, so 3, 1, 6. That's what? That's 10. 10 plus 6, that's 16. So for cattle, the total dentition is what? 16 times 2. We have 16 here. So we'll multiply by 2, and then the total amount of teeth there will be what? 32. For rabbit, we have 2, 3, 0 here. So 3 plus 2, 3 plus 3, 6. 6 plus 2, that's 8. 8 plus 6, 14. Right, so we have a total of 14. But don't forget, we're going to multiply 14 by 2 since it's 1/2 of the jaw. So 14 by 2. Therefore, rabbit total teeth will be what? 14 times 2, that's 28. So this represents, dentition in common animals, and this is how it usually appears in the exam. So it's something that is important for us to be aware of in the exam. All right. Alright, so in summary, we first of all looked at nutrition. We said it's the mode in which living organisms get their nutrients into the cells, and how they break down these nutrients into absorbable and metabolic molecules that they can metabolize in their cells. We looked at we said living things can either be autotrophic, for example plants and bacteria, and they can be heterotrophic like animals that depend on plant and other animals for their food. In man, the digestive system starts from mouth to the gullet, or the esophagus to the stomach, to the small intestine, to the large intestine, to the rectum, and to the anus. And the undigested or indigestible particles are passed out as feces. We said the liver serves as the door, entryway into the human body. It's important digestion of fats, storage of glucose, proteins, synthesis of proteins, storage of vitamins, recycling of hemoglobin, and then excretion of bile. Then we also look at dentition, where we looked at the teeth, the arrangement of half of the jaw. We looked at that for man, cattle, and rabbit, because these ones are very frequent in the exams. And then we looked at the fact that we have to multiply half of the jaw by 2 to get the total for man, cattle, and rabbit. So this is very important to note in nutrition. Watch out for the rest of the other videos in Biology 101. It's Dr. Piro, and I hope to see you in the next session.